Hey guys, so yeah, I actually tried to stream live and wanted to show you actually how I do the web scraping and how I inspect the elements. But it seems like my stupid internet does not want me to do that for some reason. So I let me connect my phone charger. Yeah. So for some reason, I was not able to stream live. The audio is lagging. The video is lagging. Yeah, the internet is pretty poor. So for that reason, I was not able to stream. So what I'll do is basically, I'll create an offline video and then actually upload that because, yeah, actually I wanted to code live, man, but yeah, I'm good, guys. I'm good. Good. Hi, Ashutosh. I hope you're doing fine. Yeah. Yeah, man. Actually, I wish I could do a live stream today. Yeah, but the internet it just keeps dropping all the time, man. Just can't. Yeah, it's yeah, it's very poor the internet. So, what are you guys doing? Tell me something about your what have you guys been working on this week? Yeah, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. So let's wait for people to connect and everyone to join, and we can have like a 30 minutes conversation today. Yeah. So yeah. This week, what I've been doing is basically I did attend some meetups this week. So I went to some meetups and I came to know about some new technologies, Drupal, what was that? VS Code. Inside, there's some. So we talked about like different editors and stuff. So someone commented that, hey, did you check out the VS Code Inside? That's something new. I did not know about that. So yeah, I just brought that up as well. So I have completed some. MOOCS. What is MOOCS? Moose CS. Not sure what is that, but yeah. So yeah, that is something I've been attending some meetups. And lately, trying to extract information using natural language processing using Spacey. I did try to extract like names and stuff. It does not work that well. So yeah, online short courses. Oh, that's nice. Hi Samir. Hi Code India. So yeah, that's the thing I've been doing, this week. Now, nothing special though. Yeah, last week I did about AWS, some architecture video on AWS with SNS queues and all of that. It was fun. Did some videos on Docker pipeline as well. Hope you guys have also enjoyed that one. Yeah, tell me, what are you guys doing? And yeah, just let's talk a little bit. I guess Heroku is best, man. It's free. Yeah, gee, I mean, for free if you want, yeah, do it for Heroku. Yeah, I wish I really wanted to go live, but the stupid internet seems to be not working today properly. Yeah, have been have internet connections issues all the time. Yeah, yeah, whatever. So yeah, any questions, any comments you want to ask, anything you would like to ask? It's a pretty good time. You can directly right now write your messages here, and I can try to get back to you right now. I'll reply to you. You know, I do that every Sunday usually, every week. So yeah. For domain name, go for like GoDaddy or whatever. Like there are so many things, man. Alligator, GoDaddy. Yeah, Google it, man. There should be plenty of them. Yeah, that's it. Manoj, I did have a lot of videos on Flask. Maybe you should check that out using Flask RESTful. That should be how you make an API for a web app. Hari Krishna Srinivasan says, how to make a autocomplete search with MySQL as a backend storing data and Python. I wouldn't recommend autocomplete on a MySQL. I mean, yeah, you can do that. So what you can do is basically you can use something called as regular expressions, like queries in MySQL. Let me put my phone here. Oops, is it gonna go? Maybe. So for whatever. So let me. Okay, for MySQL. Okay, give me one second. Let me put my phone. Uh, I think I should have a proper stand here. All right, give me one sec. I think I did that some MySQL, but it's not that efficient. You don't want to do autocomplete on MySQL, trust me. But I'll show you. Hold on. It's easy. Autocomplete. There was a query called like query. What was that? I forgot the SQL query. Give me one sec, okay? I'm actually looking for a SQL query. I did that. I know that, man. Oh yeah, the like query. Hey man, use the like query in MySQL to do autocomplete. So say select XYZ from table name where let's say you're doing autocomplete on product or company. So you say like where company like, and then in the quotes you would have a string. So whenever you keep typing, you keep updating the query, you keep query the database, and you don't want to select everything. So you want to say, hey, give me like top 20. Let's say so this is a query. Select top select star, or you can say select star, whatever you want to do on autocomplete. Select whatever entities, or say select top 20 from, then you give the column names from the table name, and then you would say like, and whatever the column name, and then you would say a, and in the quotes. So basically that would work as an autocomplete. Hopefully that answers your questions. Let's see. Oh, a lot of questions. Oof. How to make a autocomplete search in MySQL backend, storing data. So I just replied that you would have a backend in Flask, and then you write a query using PyODBC or MySQL connector, and then you would dynamically update the queries. You would start querying the MySQL. You would get the autocomplete. What is Elasticsearch? Elasticsearch is a giant database, NoSQL database, kind of a database which can index data of petabytes and gigabytes in fractions of seconds. So for fast searching, Elasticsearch is the one, right? So Manoj says, my question is how to make a Flask app with extracting data by an API. Could you define more? What do you mean exactly by extracting data? What kind of data are you talking about? Are we talking about data from websites, or data from web scraping, or data from databases? A little more information would be helpful. Ahmad says, what do you think about Android development? Is it better than the backend? I would say I'm not much into really like Android and stuff, so I wouldn't know. Like in general, like Android in general it's like a front end, right? You would make the UI, you would drag the components, you would say what happens when you slide, but you need a backend, right? When you press a button, it's gonna query an API, so you need an API, right? So I would say being a backend engineer has more higher weightage than just knowing an Android development, if that makes sense. I took ECE, specialized AI and cybernetics. It is good according to a program lover. Okay. Manoj says data in form of API JSON format, data in form of an API. Just yeah, Manoj, but I'm still not exactly trying able to understand your question. I did see your comments, like you said, you want to develop an API to extract data, but this data is coming. I know it's gonna be a JSON, but from what is this data all about? Like, is it data from a CSV? You gonna extract data from some website? Can you put some example so I can understand? If it's from a website, if it's from a form, you would use an AJAX call to make an AJAX call at the back end to your Flask, and then you would make some request, whatever, and send the data to the front end back and stuff like that. How to store images in MySQL data in Flask? It's pretty easy. Google it up. I always have told this again and again. You would convert an image into a blob, or basically convert it into a base64 string and store it. Manoj case, I guess you need to call an API and AJAX. Exactly, that's what I was been talking about. That's correct, Samir. Code India, how to store images. I did answer that. So hey, some great libraries are not compatible with Windows. What do you do? Well, use a virtual environment or use Docker container. Docker is a OS independent, so no matter using Mac, Linux, if it works in Docker, it works everywhere. So go with Docker, man. Uh, what should I learn next? I know Python, JavaScript, HTML. Well, make your own website, make a portfolio website, I would say. Samir says, I have a question on Django forms. Well, I haven't done Django since a long time, since like a year. So I don't know if I would be able to answer. If it's something related to front end and Ajax, maybe I can answer it. But yeah, try it out. If I know, I'll answer it. Thank you, Samir. Then Samir says, how to customize Django forms using Bootstrap? Honestly, I don't use the built-in forms. Usually, I use the forms, and then basically, if you want to pass data to your Django backend, what I would do is basically I would do a post on an internal pipe. So basically, you would make a post on your Django backend and with your form data, right? And then you would process your form data, and then you can again send it to with Ajax. Exactly, Ajax fetch, whatever. It's the same thing. Yeah. What is Ajax? Ajax is basically a way to make a request to your backend from a front end, from a client side. That's a very simple definition I can give you. I know Flask, Python, front end. What should I learn next to improve my skills? As I said, make your own website, make your portfolio website, make your website like interactive, add some UI components with JavaScript, Flask to be better at it. How to scrape data from websites without the knowledge of HTML and the source page? Well, hacking the API keys, that is what I was trying to show in today's live session, but unfortunately the internet is stupid and I was not able to do a live stream. I have certain videos where you do inspect element, you get the XHR response, and directly you use their API keys and get the JSON response. So that is what I would do. Yeah, any more questions? I made a project on web app. What to do next? There are a lot of projects on freelancing.com. Try to make websites, web apps, some tools like a weather app or something like that. Try it out. Go to Google and search for some projects. There are a lot of projects you can search, and you can try working on those projects. Or you can also go on freelancing.com and go there and search for web apps projects and then start working on that. Alrighty, any more questions? One question on web hosting that I want to pay my hosting with free credit, but don't know how. Does that mean you want to host a website for free? If that's the question, you can host. If it's a website, it's a static website, you can host the website on GitHub pages. If it's a dynamic website, that means which involves a backend, then I would say for free you can host it on Heroku. DigitalOcean, of course, very good choice. Is that the question? Just making sure. One question is a web hosting that I want to prepay. Oh, web hosting you want to prepay my hosting with a free credits, but don't know how. Is that what your question is all about? Just making sure. When the what is this? When the Docker is needed in the web development, I would say learn about Docker a bit. Code India. All right. Any more questions here? Yeah, mostly I've been working on. I've been trying to get things out from the text using Spacey and stuff. I made my own machine learning model, but it does not work that well. For example, I try to make a model which can extract names, but sometimes it fails. It's not that great. So looking for some things that I can extract. Yeah, information. What is the categories in Python like ML and please data science, machine learning, web scraping, web development, backend, front end. So all of this is in Python, right? So data science, data analysis, all of these come ETL jobs. All of this is Python, right? So what is the most important topic in Flask? There is no such like important topic. It's a framework to make web development. Like the concept should be clear, like your Ajax, front end, back end, how to make our APIs. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna be for like few more minutes because I wanna complete this tutorial on skill extractor. So I'm gonna be doing like a reverse engineering on that website, try to extract the information, and gonna make the code as open source. Yep, that's my goal for today. Wapika Storyteller is here. Says how to make an Android app using Python. I don't know. Can you make? I mean, Android app. I think there's something called as Kiwi. Try that, or you can make a progressive web apps (PWA). I mean, it's not a really an app. Basically, it's a website. When you download it on a phone, it becomes an app. So, make videos on API. I do have a lot of videos on API. Please let me know what in specific you want to know. So. Hashito says, what is a blob? Blob is basically a binary data. When you read a file as binary, it's called as a blob data. But when you want to store it on a whatever database, you like an image, you would store a base 64 encoded string of that image. Habilash Mandal says, carrier in Python modules, please describe. Carriers in Python modules, please describe. Sorry, I did not quite understand. What does that mean? Carriers in Python module, please describe. Uh, I have videos on that. Try to check out on the autocomplete playlist. I have like a Google Maps API where you can use to do that. So yeah, check that out. Yeah, my advice to you guys is if you want to really be good at Python and stuff, guys, please try to learn AWS, Amazon Web Services. Again, as I said, future is cloud. Everything is gonna be cloud. The API soon will be outdated. I mean, I'm not saying it's outdated, but everything is gonna be a serverless lambdas on AWS. Like whatever, if you're using Google GCP, it's gonna be what's that Google Cloud Functions. Amazon, we have lambdas. So yeah, learn about AWS if you want to get good job, and if you want to, so my advice is, be good at AWS. Sorry, I meant much modules. Should I learn for a good career? I think my advice is, be good at your fundamentals. Your fundamentals should be strong. So I mean, there are so many libraries. You should be just able to scroll over these libraries and documentation, and grab things quickly. So I think if your fundamentals are strong, you should be good to go then. It's on my playlist, man. I'm on my phone right now, so later on you can dig into my playlist and check the Google API video. It's in the autocomplete session. So, alrighty. For that, please refer some tutorials on YouTube. That's pretty basic. How to create an API. So I would say yeah. Please take a course on web development. It seems like these are like the basic concepts. Code India. So I would say take some course on Udemy on web development, which will teach you about this Ajax and all of that uh, in much detail. So these are like very basic web fundamentals that you use jQuery, Ajax, and yeah. I would say, as I said, Google it up first of all. This is a very basic. I think you would get the answers in Google. So try to googling your question first. Always like Ajax. So that should help you, man. Usually, Udemy has some good courses. Yeah, try to take some course on web development. Uh, it'll be helpful to you. Can I run a Python script in an EC2 instance from S3 bucket? Wait, what? Wait. Can I run a Python script in an EC2? Yes, you can, but from an S3 bucket. What do you mean? Does that mean that you have a Python file on an S3 bucket and you want to run it in an EC2 instance? Is that right? If that is right, then you cannot like what you can do is you can of course like upload your file on an EC2 instance, your Python file, and then you can run it. Of course, yeah, it's a server, right? It's a Linux machine. Definitely you can do that. Fab Code says, well, can I build a app with a low specs laptop? Well, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Like there are so many online editors like Replit, CodePan. I mean, you can do whatever you want, man. You don't need a computer. I mean, just go to some online editor and just try start coding, man. And yeah. What is your specialization in MS, and how are the subjects different from undergraduate CSE subjects? Oh, so of course I did my double masters in electrical and computer. My major in electrical engineering was majorly focused on VLSI, where I would be, I was doing more of like mentor graphic designing. What do you call that? Designing, writing Verilog code for designing what do you call that architecture, like a pipeline architecture, CPU architectures, and all of that. Then writing and implementing that architecture in the Verilog. So that is what I used to do. More in electrical engineering. I used to do a lot of IoT. I mean, my interest was also in IoT, AWS, IoT, Greengrass, all of that. Coming to computer engineering, my focus was into, I guess, machine learning and data science. Now, yeah, I do like pretty much everything now, like data science, software engineering, machine learning, because I've been just doing so many roles. So I guess well, yeah, I do like full stack now. So yeah. How to use Python in backend? Well, you make a REST API and then you consume the REST API using a backend services. You would make a API, you would call an API from a front end, and that's how you would consume an API. Which one is the best, Angular or React or Vue? I wouldn't comment on that. I'm not an expert on that, front end. All the three has its pros and cons. They are equally, they all are like component based architecture. Basically, you make web components and you reuse the web components. For example, React uses more like JavaScript stuff. So as I said, it's hard to comment on that one. It's a really tricky topic, but I think there are some good people on internet who did explain difference between Angular, React, and Vue. So yeah, a lot of people, I need an Android studio, but I don't think it's necessary. A lot of people say I need an Android studio, but yeah, I mean, there are online editors. As I said, you can try coding there, of course. So how can I protect my site from SQL injection attack? Well, you would, of course, in the front end, if you have SQL injection, you would, of course, like have some. What I'm saying is you would have like checks there. So basically, you would make sure that the length of the input field does not exist. You would use regular expression to make sure that you would have some validation, right? Validation logic. That is pretty much I can say. I'm not an expert in. Of course, I'm not I used to work as a security analyst. Has been a long time though, but those are some of the basic things I would do, like do some validation, do some checks on the input fields, use the CRC. What I'm saying is, what do you call that? Like in Flask, we set up like a secret token. So every time you open a website, you get that. See, I just forgot the word for that. What was that? Shit. I can get back to you on that one. What was that? I forgot it, man. You used to set some long token in Flask. I just forgot. But I'll get back on that. How important is AWS and cloud computing in current? Well, it's very, very important. As I said, future is cloud. Most of the companies they work on cloud, right? So I think you should learn AWS and stuff, right? Um, yeah, I mean that's my take. Yes, you can do things like Discord bot and TK Inter and Kiwi apps in front end endpoints. Yep. CSRF, yeah, that's the word. Sorry, I was just out of my mind. I couldn't recollect that. CSRF was the word. You can use CSRF tokens. Yeah, That's right. Exactly. Thank you, Omkar Hassan. Hari Krishna says, which algorithm would you recommend for facial recognition? I think YOLO was the best one, I guess. YOLO was the one. There are a lot of algorithms. I mean, just check it out on Google, man. TensorFlow website, they'll show you a lot of stuff. JWT is also, of course, one. JWT authentication tokens expire after every 30 minutes. You use CSRF tokens. You do some validation. So these are all the things you would do to protect from such kind of stuff. Of course, yes, that's correct. And you would have rate limiting APIs. You would do geo restriction. That means APIs from certain geolocation would be only allowed, right? So these are some of the things you can do. Can we use Python in front end? I mean, yeah, people use Flask, right? You use Jinja templating, right? So, I mean, the answer would be, I mean, you can't write like, I mean, you can write like Python like syntax in Jinja templating, but yeah, I guess I am new to your channel. Can you tell about your college? All right. So my name is Saumil. I completed my bachelor's in electronic engineering from KT Somaiya, that is in India, Mumbai. I came to the United States in 2017 for my double masters in electrical and computer engineering. I did 4 internships, and the last internship got converted into a full-time opportunity. I love to make YouTube videos. I teach people. I write blogs, and that's pretty much about me. All right, so Helsenberg White says, why you use WT forms instead of plain HTML forms? Pretty good questions. That is pretty good question. I would say because, usually WTF forms, what it does is basically it gives you Python like syntax, so you don't have to like think about it. So if you want to create like 6 input tag, right? So you say input type text, but instead you can use like what do you call that, class like syntax. So you can just say input field. So it gives you like a validation and all that. So you can use like validation and all. It's just like, I would say, it's just a, how can I put it? I mean, they both are like the same thing, but it allows you to write a code on the Python side, like on the server side, and then those form would be getting rendered on the client side. I mean, they would get, how do I put it? Let me Google it and get the right answer for you. I don't want to give any wrong answers, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's just like a class-like syntax, like input field, you would say, then you would say a text field or whatever. Like, I mean, it's just the same thing. You write it by yourself in the front end, or you write it on the Python side, and then it generates all of that on the website. But yeah, as I said, might not be the right explanation, but yeah. Uh, Thanks for clearing out doubts. It's going to the college super necessary. Is going to the college super necessary? Yes, it is necessary at least to have at least go to at least have your bachelor so you can get a job, because, I mean, there are criteria where you get filtered out. So at least having a degree is important. So yeah. Where did you do your masters? I did my masters from University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. Can you please tell your role about Spark in data? Can you please tell the role of Spark in data science? I mean, honestly, I mean, I to me it's just the same thing. Like I do that in the PySpark, or I do that in the Pandas. I mean, at the end, you are just manipulating some data frame. So um, it does not matter much. I mean, it's just a different language or syntax to me. Any plans on doing a WebRTC full-fledged tutorial? WebRTC. I don't know what WebRTC stands for, but I can, of course, Google and learn and get back to you on that. Flask form give you option of validating on backend. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. You have this built-in things. They built it for you, so you don't have to write like JavaScript code, like like JS and all that. But yeah, pretty much. How is doing masters? Is it hectic, or do you get time for your hobbies? Well, it's. I mean, if you are the one who likes to study and if you like to learn new things, I think United States is the perfect place to take your knowledge to a next level, because more practical oriented knowledge. You would meet a lot of talented people from all around the world. Diversity is there. You would meet people from China, India, Pakistan, different countries, all talented people. You would have an opportunity to grow, to learn from these people, learn their culture, how disciplined they are. I think overall it's a good journey, I would say. Let's see. Whew, lot of questions. ML fields are really intimidated as there are a lot of yeah, that's true. Would you be focusing on DS algorithm videos in future? Maybe not. I would say I would focus more on application oriented videos on my channel. Any good resources for learning C sharp? Well, I guess there you can just YouTube it. There are a lot of tutorials. So, is Linux necessary for data analytics? I would say yes, because sometimes you might have to create scripts or deploy scripts on like EC2 instances. So I would say a little bit background of Linux would be helpful. I would say at least like nano, sudo, and all of that. So not Ben 101. Okay, says I find the API for the sites. Can I avoid web scraping code from becoming outdated due to the front end design changes? If I find the API. Okay, so if you find an API for a site, can I avoid web scraping code? Of course, you can avoid, right? You can directly call their API. That's what I've been talking about. Like, instead of doing web scraping, directly call their API. Let's see. I'm gonna take few more questions and then end the session. Okay. I'm on my laptop and what is this? And I taking off today from my laptop screen. What was your CGPA in KJ Somaya? Why my CGPA was seven pointers aggregate on a scale of a 10, And how much experience do you had to till your bachelor's? Well, I did work in Samirwadi. It's a place in Karnataka, and where we went to rural sites, and we tried to help them with some projects and softwares that we developed for them. So I did had a lot of hands-on experience on my IoT skills, I would say. So I think I had about 6 to 7 months of experience there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Will you have any Elasticsearch live? What will you have any Elasticsearch live? What exactly in that? Could you tell me more? Not Ben 101 says, "Hey, add my question search for API you were doing before. Add to my question search for the API as you were doing before." Okay, sure. What is spider in Python? Spider. Yeah, I haven't like much explored on spider, but I think I can get back to on that. Can you explain me some sentence on Elasticsearch? Yeah, sure. Okay. Elasticsearch is like a kind of like a NoSQL database style. I think, okay, might be a very layman line. I'm speaking very layman right now. Elasticsearch is like a MongoDB and like a DynamoDB, kind of like a NoSQL. But what it allows you to do is it indexes your text. So you can search from gigabytes and petabytes of data in several milliseconds, and that is the power of Elasticsearch. Because if you have gigabytes of data in Mongo, and if you write a query, it's going to take a while to load that data. But Elasticsearch is like fraction of second. It allows you to do a lot of things like aggregation. Like fast aggregation is one of them. Geo queries and all of that in few milliseconds or seconds. That's basically Elasticsearch. I have never been, let's say, EXTC resource. All right, few more questions. I'm gonna end it. It's just getting. I gotta make some videos today. Also, I have never seen any videos or code examples where in Python is integrated with Solar, where there are many such contents available for Elasticsearch. Where can I find contents for the same? Not sure I understood the question completely. I've seen the video. I have never seen any videos or code examples when in Python integrated with Solar. Let me do some research on Solar and I'll get back to you on that. Let's see. Is deep knowledge of deployment is required to get a job as a fresher? Well, not as a fresher, but at least some idea, right? You should have at least a basic idea how to do a deployment, right? On an EC2 or whatever it is, Docker container. Basic idea should be there. Spider is an IDE, by the way. Oh, really? I thought like Spider is also, I mean, we were using Spider in our company. It's also a library, right? Gijo Joseph, because I think it's something for scrolling or web scraping. I'm not sure because I know Spider is an IDE in like a Jupyter, but SPYDER. PyPy. I think there was a library also. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. So Spider, the scientific Python development environment. Oh, okay. So that's that one. I thought it might be some crawler or something. I haven't used Spider though. I know it's an IDE, but Spider Model X terminal. Well, okay. It seems like Spider is an IDE to do some coding like Jupyter Notebook. Seems like that. Thanks, Gijo Joseph. Please make a series on system design and please make a series of apps development also, Flask or Spring. I don't do Spring, of course, so I do mostly like Python, so I would say Flask, right? So any resource on API for transactional SMS sending to the client. I think Twilio, right? Twilio does that, right? So you can use Twilio API, right? So SendGrid and Twilio are the best things you should be doing. Yeah, I think I had some videos on my channel on Twilio. Yeah. All right, two more questions, and that's the end of today's session. I gotta make some tutorials for you guys as well. Twilio is not open source. Of course, it's not open source. You gotta pay money, right, for the APIs. If you're looking for something open source, what was that? I used to do send SMS using Way2SMS. I forgot when I was like a kid. Way2SMS, but you have to develop some web scraping. What was that? Way2SMS.com? Yeah, I guess it was Way2SMS. Not sure. I don't know anything open source or free. I gotta check. I mean, I know something paid, but definitely not. Is also not open source. Then unfortunately I don't know because yeah, I mean it's just you gotta pay money for the services, I guess. Yeah. All right, last question, and the last question I'm gonna take is, let me see. Uh, Let me see some good questions. What are the interview questions for freshers? Pretty good. That's the last question I'm gonna take for today. So, what are the interview questions of freshers? I do. I did some. I did take some interviews for some people because I had some job opening in my company. So here is what I'm looking for when I see a candidate. First of all, I see a resume. I make sure that, I mean, I see if it's a one page, two page, three page. I usually expect it to be a one page resume. And I basically, first of all, first thing I see is their education qualification. Their BE, MS, whatever it is. I see that. The second thing I do is basically I see their projects, what kind of projects they do, and I actually make sure that they are not like faking it, because I then go to their GitHub profiles, I check their profiles, I see how often they are committing their code, and I read their code. I see how they are writing code. Are they writing object oriented code? Are they just writing? I see how beautifully they are writing code. For example, classes, objects, comments. I see a lot of stuff, page stuff. I see the way they write code. Are they using any design patterns? After that, once I have an idea, then I go to their LinkedIn profile. I see their profile. I read their profile and see, oh, okay, this is a person. I check their social medias also, because that gives you a good idea about a person, what kind of a person that is. So usually a profile image from a social media gives you a very good insight. So if you're gonna have an image like something with a beer or something, I'm pretty gonna make sure that this guy is not like serious, right? So I'm gonna, first of all, I'll see a resume. I'm gonna make sure to track that person each and everywhere on LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere on all possible social media, and see what kind of a person he is. Once I have that knowledge, I know about the person, about his background a bit. I did my research. Then during the interview, I would, first of all, I would, of course, ask like, hey, welcome, good morning, welcome, and I would say, first of all, why don't you try to introduce yourself? And I'm expecting the answer to be a one or two sentences, and not to be like a 6 7 minutes long. I don't want to hear like the entire, like a brief story. I want to get answers in 2 minutes, right? So I would expect the reply to be within 2 minutes. Like, tell me something about yourself, and I'm not expecting an answer that is something in the resume, because I already have your resume. I already did my research, so I know who you are. Tell me something that is not there in your resume, right? When I say that, so that is one thing. After that, I would usually question people on their projects, definitely. So I would say, hey, tell me something about your projects. Tell me something about one good project that you recollect, you enjoyed working with. So whatever projects you say, then what I do is basically I go deep inside that project. I ask a lot of questions in that. For example, I did interview like 3 4 candidates few days back. So they told me about the projects. I wouldn't name their candidates, but I would say what I was asking. So once they told me about the projects, I first thing, please don't lie. If you don't know anything, always be very honest and say, hey, it's okay, I do not know the answers for that. So do not lie on your interview session, because people can make out pretty easily, right? So usually when you say about your project, then I ask questions like, oh, what did you do for backend service? How did you develop a backend? So when I say tell me about your projects, I'm expecting in 2 or 3 sentences to describe what did you accomplish in your projects. Once you tell me that, okay, this is what I did in my project, then I'm gonna ask technical questions to you. For example, okay, that sounds good. How did you develop a backend services? What did you use that? So he's gonna answer, okay, I made a backend in Flask. Okay, that makes sense. Then I would go even more deeper and, okay, so okay, so you did this backend and all in Flask. What if like 500 clients are accessing your API? Is your API gonna work? Did you do some load testing? How would you approach in developing a scalable architecture for your backend services? So I would see what kind of answer the person is giving me. So I'm expecting again answer here on Docker containers. So I would expect people to answer that, hey, yeah, that's pretty good. I would scale up my Flask backend services with an Nginx gateway with the WSGI. So that can easily scale up to 500 person or maybe that. And I would do some load testing using JMeter, Apache JMeter, which is a free tool, and that would give me a nice idea. After that, I would ask some questions on security, like, hey, what do you think, how secure is your API? What if I get your API and I make like a million requests? What the hell is going to happen? It's going to break, right? So what are the security measures you're going to take to protect your API? So your answer should be, I'm going to use username, password, basic authentication, JWT authentication. These are the security measures you're going to take. I'm going to do header validation. I'm going to see when you're making a response, what are the things in your headers. I'm going to check that as well. So that is the response that I am expecting from you when I ask you a question. So that is regarding security. Then I would go even more deeper in that. So I would say, okay, so your response time, let's say, is 2 minutes, right? And how can you make it more efficient? How can you make it more faster? You have this Nginx, you have this load balancing, everything is good. How can you make it more faster? So then I'm expecting an answer that, hey, your answer should be, I would be using some kind of caching mechanism like a Redis cache, or I would develop some kind of a hash map, or where basically I would add the response in a hash map, and basically I would say, oh, was that response in a Redis cache? If yes, return it from a cached value. Otherwise, if not, then go to the database, update the cache, and then send it. So that's the second question answer I would be expecting. Then I would say, okay, that's pretty good, sounds good. Let's say you have a function which is taking, let's say there's a function which takes 5 minutes to execute. How can you break your or I would say even say like, hey, you have this backend services. How would you break your monolithic backend into a microservice architecture? What are the steps you would take for that? So there I'm expecting answers such as, okay, I would basically write an async code. I would use threading, multiprocessing. I would put all the data. I would make like several micro functions, and I would launch all of these functions in a thread, and these threads would return the data on a queue. So I would get the data from the queue. That's what I've been expecting answers from that. So that's the question on the back end I would ask, usually generally to candidates. That's done. After that, after all of these questions, I would of course ask, what are the deployment strategies do you think? How would you deploy? How did you deploy your project? So I want to know there an answer where, what do you think on how do you deploy your application? For example, Heroku, AWS. So I want to see that, what did you do for deployment? So I would ask questions such as that. Once that is done, I would basically jump to front end. I would ask what kind of front end frameworks you use. For example, jQuery, Flask, Bootstrap. Okay, that makes sense. Then I would ask questions like, tell me something about Ajax, or backend, like front end. What other techniques you used in front end? I would ask some questions on client side storage, like local storage, index DB, stuff like that, web SQL. I would ask questions like, hey, how would you store data on a how would you make store the data on the front end, right, on the client side? So these would be the some more questions on that. I would then ask questions about about AWS Docker containers, just an idea. What do you think? Why should we use S3 over Dynamo? When should we use S3? Questions such as that. So from these answers, I would have an idea how much a person knows about AWS or cloud, right? This would give me a nice idea about that. If a person comments that he knows machine learning, I would go deep into that. I would ask him, okay, what kind of model you use? What kind of loss function did you use? Why did you think that you use this loss function over that loss function? Those would be the question. If it's a data, then I would ask questions related to data, like basic questions like, I would test the knowledge about classes, objects. For example, I would say, can you basically, can you write, what are the best ways? Let's say you have huge software to make, and you have like 500 classes. How would you manage these classes? How would you create instance of those classes? Let's say you have a class and you have to pass like 20, it takes like 30 parameters, 30 query parameters. How would you optimize it? How would you, how would you structure your code better? What kind of design pattern you would use? Where would you use, like for example, I'm expecting answers again, as I said, like I would use facade design pattern. I would use singleton design pattern when creating a database and stuff like that, so that nobody can create more than one instances. How would you optimize the memory in a class? So I'm expecting an answer to be, I would use slots in Python to optimize the when I'm creating a class, I would use slots. I would ask about basics about object-oriented programming, like instances, static variables, static functions. I would ask about class functions, stuff like that. Some like basic knowledge. I would test the person about object-oriented a bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Is there anything else? What else? Oh yeah, I would of course ask like behavioral questions as well. Okay, for example, let's say you work in a team of two people. What would and the other person is not working as fast as you, and he's slowing you down. What would you do? So when you tell these kind of answer, I have an idea what would you do in such kind of situation, right? So I would ask like behavior questions also, like gives me an understanding about how a person is, right? And then I would ask him, okay, so what happens if you are working in a team and you're not being given credits for your work, or people are not hearing your ideas? How would you approach these kind of problems? These all questions allow you to judge a person, right? Like what kind of dance, the based on the answer you give, you have an idea about the person, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much it, man. I mean, what else? Thanks for the interview question. By the way, please check on the WebRTC, as I found the resource are less specifically on artificial. Yeah, definitely. I'll check out tutorials on. I'll check out some resources on WebRTC and get back to you pretty soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Like, I mean, of course, these are the very basic interview questions, as I said. Then these are like the first screening question. Then when it goes to data structures, algorithms, you ask like few questions on that. You ask questions on architecture, and I mean, yeah, pretty much. Whew, that was all right. Thank you so much. You can make a video related to interview questions. Yeah, I can make one. Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, these are basic questions that you want to know about. So yeah, it's like a conversation. You want, when you're talking, you want to be very confident. You want to have a conversation. You don't want to say yeah, no. You want to, when I'm talking to you, you see how fluently you are. You should talk as if you are talking to your friend. That's the thing. And one thing I would say, don't lie, or don't lie. Like, people who are taking your interview, they know something, right? They are not like, if they are taking, means they are experienced at that position, right? So you don't want to like lie to them, right? If you don't, I mean, the thing is, when I was in an interview, I did not know something. I said, sir, this is what exactly I said in a tone. Sir, I do not know that, but I'm very willing to learn. I'm a very fast learner. If you give answers in that way, people would love to hear you, right? If you say, no, I know this, I know that, oh yeah, it's this way, that's arrogance, right? That's ego. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, um, yeah. So always you want to be humble and down to earth. You don't want to talk to like arrogant and egoistic people. Always be down to earth, no matter how much you know. Always talk respectfully to each and every one, all people, right? If you give respect, you will get respect in return, right? Always, if you want to remember, the way you want to treat I mean, it's just like, don't show arrogance or ego. I mean, just be down to earth and humble in life. That's the best way to live a happy life. I mean, and I would say, keep working hard and keep always putting the hours. And because software engineering is a field which is constantly changing, and new things are coming out every single day, and we always need to keep up with these field, right? So we gotta keep learning always. And at the same time, we do have to enjoy life. I'm not saying that don't enjoy, but that's pretty much it for today's live session. I guess I just talked a lot today. Hopefully people shall benefit from this. I don't know. Let me know if you have any more questions. I can take last question for the day. Any more questions? I'm gonna go live directly on next Sunday. So yeah, anything you want to ask, I'm live right now. Please feel free to ask. As you know, like, I'm a very honest person. If I don't know anything, I don't brag about things. If I know things, I will definitely, I've been helping a lot of people for free. I never took any a single amount. Like, people were saying, hey, I'm ready to pay you. I can you like tutor me? I said, I don't want your money. I'll do it for free. But that's what it is. Will deep learning be relevant for the next 10 years? I mean, of course, I mean, it's a very trending thing, and the competition is pretty high in deep learning. So, of course, it's going to be there. But ask yourself, what do you want to do? Like, if that excites you, that motivates you, go for it, man. Like, yeah. Oh, boy. Long conversation today, Sunday. I don't know. I mean, you can search for some online tools. I don't know. I gotta check for that one, Bruce. All right. Yeah, any more questions you have? Anything you want, any advice or anything in general you want to know? Please, do not hesitate to ask me. I'm always there for helping people. Yeah, please make videos continuously. Yeah, definitely. I'm trying my best to make videos and trying to cope up with the time. Yeah. Best languages to develop Android apps. I am not the right person to comment on that on Android. So uh, I guess, is there any more questions, guys? I think it was a wonderful session today. We did talk a lot about a lot of things about life, about interview questions and stuff. So, do you use MongoDB? Yes, my friend, I do use MongoDB. I'll try to create some tutorials on MongoDB as well. Yeah. Django versus Node, which is the best? Depends on company, man. I mean, different companies use different things, so I wouldn't comment on anything which is the best in short. Both are equally powerful, I would say. Yeah. What is dual degree? Is it hard like at master's level? Yeah and no, yes and no, because you got to take course from electrical and computer engineering, and the assignments are very challenging and tough, right? So, I mean, it's nothing is tough if you work hard, if you put in the hours. I mean, everything is just a piece of cake. I mean, dual degree is basically if you do a master's, one master's, it takes 2 years. If you do two masters, it takes 4 years. But if you do dual degree, you can complete both the masters in 3 years by taking more courses, right? And that's a dual degree, right? But it's expensive, man. It's very expensive. Trust me. You have to do what is this? Oh, yeah, two masters at one time. That's right. That's correct. Video series on unit testing. I think I have videos on unit testing, man. Check it out. Let me know if that works. What's up? What about Go? You mean Golang? Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I'm gonna do it on my free time. I don't have that much time. I think I would invest my time learning React, Vue, or Angular. That's more like a big deal than learning like Golang and stuff. Yeah, I mean, like a full stack engineer, so for me, I'm pretty good at my backend. I'm just good at it. I'm good at my backend, ETL jobs, data analysis and stuff like that. But I think one thing that I'm lacking right now is my front end skills. I'm also good. I'm not saying I'm not bad. I'm pretty good and I'm pretty skilled there. But I think I need to cope up more in the front end. So I'm gonna spend my time learning more React or Angular or stuff like that, because yeah, that's like popular right now. I use Python for my backend. I just use Fast API or not Django. Mostly I use Fast API or Python for making REST APIs. Try Vue as I am too learning. All right, I think I don't know, man. The thing is, like Vue and React. I mean, I mean, yeah, I'm still thinking like the thing with the React is, with you can make like mobile friendly apps with React Native and stuff. So I don't know. I'm still like making my mind on that. Like it's just so like a hype right now. Everyone is like React, Vue, Angular. So let's see. What is the difference between React and jQuery? I mean, React is a component-based framework. jQuery is just a library that's built on top of JavaScript to do DOM manipulation and stuff like that, I would say. Wanted to know how actually I can mock a database connection. You mean in unit testing? For API, which framework will you suggest? I would say whatever you're comfortable. I usually do it in Flask RESTful, or I do it on Fast API. Those are the two things I usually make APIs in. But I mostly do it in Flask, pretty much. All right, guys, has been 52 minutes. Hopefully, wonderful session today. Had a great time talking to you guys and answering all your questions. Again, as I said, if I haven't answered any questions, do write me an email. And as in when I get time, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I gotta make some tutorials. I gotta make my lunch today, so I'm gonna take a leave now. But thank you so much for joining me today. Keep smiling, keep working hard, and see you guys.